Alright, hey everybody, so here we are for the next flip video lesson. This is video number 4, and today we're going to talk about the role of political parties. A few days ago in class, we broke down George Washington's speech where he said that political parties are terrible, they weaken the government, they distract the government, and then he continually extrapolates until he gets to they have riots and insurrection, which we know is not true, but there were some pieces of truth to that first part of his warning. So after that whole mudslinging campaign against political parties, I think it's important to talk about, well, there are positives and we do have a role for political parties. So the first one is they serve as a watchdog. This is the same thing as when we talked about the mass media in class being a watchdog. If a Republican is in office, then the Democrats can keep an eye and make sure that they're doing exactly what they should be doing, and they can be a whistleblower if they see something is wrong. But as George Washington stated, sometimes they can incite false alarms and they can focus on issues that are sometimes ridiculous. So, serve as watchdogs. They provide citizens a voice in government. The political parties are the ones that organize all of the places for people to go and share their voice or petition the government or assemble. So they're going to provide us a voice. They keep citizens informed about issues. The political parties are the ones who hold those conventions when it's an election year. They're the ones who bring all the issues to light, and they give the information to us. Alright, so without those conventions, they're the ones putting together political ads, we wouldn't have that information from them directly. We would have it via the media, which could have that bias, but now we have it directly from them. They offer a variety of ways to get involved in government. So this ties into providing citizens a voice. You can go door knocking and tell people about the candidates or the issues that are important to you. You can participate in getting voters registered to, or getting people registered to vote so they will be voters. There's a variety of ways that you can be involved in government, as we talked about in rights, duties, and responsibilities. So your responsibility is to be involved in government, and the political parties are going to help you do that. Right, they help select candidates for office, as they're doing right now. All last year we had the primary for the Republican Party, where you had the caucuses, remember that political jargon term, and the primaries in each state. And if you notice the Electoral College in my room, it has Santorum, Gingrich, Romney. Each one of those people would win the state. They would count the delegates, and they would see who should be the presidential campaign for the Republican Party. And if we did not have an incumbent means the person who's holding office, if we did not have an incumbent president, then the Democratic Party would be doing the same thing. But obviously you're going to support the president in a national campaign. All right, they establish positions on issues and set goals. This means they have a platform, all right? So when we say established position, that's saying platform. So are you writing down platform as I'm saying it? Because remember, this isn't the only information. So they'll tell us, well, here's where we stand on the death penalty. Here's where we stand on gun control. Here's where we stand on tax cuts. Here's where we stand on stimulus packages. Here's where we stand on trade with China. All right? So they'll take that position so that people will know the platform of the Republican Party, and they can look there to see who they want to vote for when it comes to senators, congressmen, the president, governors, mayors, etc. And they provide day-to-day leadership. Okay, they're going to help us to understand who's running and where they stand on those issues. Right? So these are the positives of political parties. Now, remember last time when you took your notes on propaganda, I said don't necessarily copy down exactly the format that I have here. An excellent way to reorganize these notes would be a spoke or a web diagram. That's when you have the circle in the center and all the different pieces that come off of it. So think about that. Maybe you want to rewrite it. In the United States, we have a bipartisan government. And bipartisan, well, let's break it down. Bi means two. A bicycle has two wheels, right? What's the next word you see in here? Party. I always say party with an I. All right, so we've got bi, party with an I, Zan. Bipartisan means we have a two-party system. Notice we spend 90% of our time in class discussing the Republicans and the Democrats. Well, why is that? Because they are the driving forces. The Dems and the GOPs are the ones who make up 99% of our government, that has to do with national, state, and local. Notice I said 99%. That means that there are some independents in Congress. All right, so we've got bipartisan, a two-party system. So that means that there are third parties. It's not only the Republicans and the Democrats. All right, so when it comes to third parties, there's actually over 253 in the United States. And they range the gamut. They have this whole huge spectrum. Many of them are very transfer propaganda and euphemistic words. The Constitution Party, the Independence Party, the Patriotic Party, the Family Values Party. All right? Many of them have that Constitution or American transfer propaganda. But remember, at those 250, our whole political spectrum, you still do have some people who are going to use violence. So you have the American Nazi Party, you even have the Communist Party, the Socialist Party. Those are parties in the United States today, but we don't hear about them because they don't have any power. Right? And lastly, there's also what's known as a single issue party. There's the legalizing marijuana party. There's also the Prohibition Party, people who, the opposite end of the legalizing marijuana, want to make alcohol illegal or prohibit alcohol. Those are single issue parties where you're really not trying to win an election, you're just really trying to shed some light on what your belief is. Alright? Well, if we've never had a third-party president and we have only one or two third-party congressmen or senators, why should you even try? Why would you even form a third party? Well, third parties are actually make a large impact on the election, even though they may not win. So, they take votes away from major parties. Perfect example of this is the Bush-Gore election. There was a third-party candidate, Ralph Nader, for the Green Party. Their candidate now is Jill Stein, who was running. He is going to be liberal. So what happened was he splits the liberal vote, which means that the majority of the vote is now going to go to Bush. And a lot of people would then blame the election on Ralph Nader, that Al Gore should have won. However, is that helping the liberals? No, it's not. So you have to really look at each situation in a different manner. So they take votes away from major parties. They bring new ideas to the table. And force, not only do they bring the ideas, but sometimes the major parties will adopt their ideas. What is this new political party we've talked about in class? The Libertarian Party. The ideal of a laissez-faire government, which is, remember from last year, hands-off government, small government, but pro-civil rights. Because as we said in that political compass, what if you don't just go left to right? What if you're fiscally responsible, but you want those civil rights to be there? Well, that Libertarian Party, some of the major parties are adopting one side or the other, whatever works for them. They can be short-lived. There have been a lot of third parties in the past. Bull Moose Party comes to be, and then it's gone. It doesn't have sustainable power because it hasn't been here for a long time. And then lastly, there's a lot of people in the country, those moderate, independents, undecided voters who don't associate themselves as a Democrat or a Republican, and they need a voice too. So they feel that they can go into that voting booth, close the curtain, and still feel confident in their vote, even if it's just not those first two, Romney or Obama. All right, so for today, what's your summary? 1, political parties do have a role, they're not just negative. And 2, third parties exist, and even though they don't win elections, they still make a change. Now what you have to do is come up with your questions, qualms, concerns, and you want to rework those notes. Okay, everybody? Have a great day, and I'll see you soon.